Nobody likes being wrong. But for some people, it's not just an unpleasant feeling. It's something they avoid at all costs. And that avoidance shapes the way they think, act, and live. The fear of being wrong runs deeper than just protecting your pride. It's not always about winning an argument or proving you're smart. It's often about protecting your sense of self. Because to admit you're wrong is to admit that the story you've been telling yourself about the world or about who you are isn't entirely true. And that's a lot more destabilizing than we like to admit. Psychologically, our brains are wired to crave consistency. There's a theory called cognitive dissonance, which basically says that when our beliefs, actions, and self-image don't line up, it creates an uncomfortable mental tension. Admitting you're wrong throws all three of those things into chaos. It forces you to confront the idea that your map of reality might be flawed. And for many people, that's not just inconvenient, it's threatening. This is why so many of us dig our heels in when we feel challenged. We treat being wrong like a personal attack instead of an opportunity to grow. It's not because we're stubborn for the sake of it. It's because somewhere deep down, we've tied our identity to being right. And when you do that, every mistake feels like a piece of your identity is crumbling. But here's the irony. If you're afraid of being wrong, you also limit your ability to be right in any meaningful way. You stop exploring ideas, stop asking questions, stop challenging your own assumptions. You live in a kind of intellectual echo chamber where the only voices you hear are the ones that agree with you. It feels safe, but it's actually the opposite. It keeps you stagnant. And if we're honest, a big part of this fear comes from how we think others will see us. Being wrong in public feels humiliating. It feels like losing credibility, respect, or status. This is especially true in a culture where mistakes are often met with judgment instead of curiosity. So we learn to defend, deflect, or double down, rather than just admit we missed the mark. But here's the thing. Being wrong isn't a flaw in the system. It is the system. Growth, learning, progress, they all depend on the willingness to revise what you thought you knew. Every person you admire for being wise, insightful, or successful has been wrong more times than they can count. The difference is, they didn't let that fact scare them into paralysis. If you can detach your identity from your opinions, if you can see being wrong not as a verdict on your worth, but as feedback, you unlock an entirely different level of freedom. You stop performing correctness and start pursuing truth. You stop trying to look like you have it all figured out and actually start figuring it out. Yes, it's uncomfortable. It means putting your ego in the passenger seat and letting curiosity drive. It means accepting that there are things you don't know and that there always will be. But there's a quiet kind of power in that humility. Because when you're not afraid to be wrong, you're free to explore, to risk, to fail, and to grow without the constant weight of protecting an image. The fear of being wrong keeps you small, but the courage to be wrong, the willingness to be seen learning in real time, that's what makes you unstoppable. It's not about being right all the time. It's about being honest enough with yourself to know when you're not. And the moment you can do that, you stop living in defense of who you are and start living in pursuit of who you could be.